हम मास्क पहनकर शूट नहीं कर सकते, हम जूम कॉल पर शूट नहीं कर सकते. We have to be there in person. We have to sweat it out on the ground. So no matter how much you do tests, आप कितना भी social distancing रखो, जब आप action करते हो किसी के साथ, so you are touching each other, and it's an exchange, bodily exchange. You can't do anything about it. I think we've kept ourselves true to the flavor of Raktanchal and the characters of Raktanchal, and we're presenting them in the same light, but in a different hue, I would say.
Finally, this last year, the whole second phase of pandemic, and then really worked a lot, very hard, especially in that bio bubble. So we are happy for the fact that it's coming out now. So there is a saying in Hindi, तीर कमान से और बात जबान से निकल जाए तो फिर कुछ होता नहीं है. So we have done our job. Now it's totally up to the audience whether they like it or they don't like it that much.
Actually, जब season 1 was about to release, I think it was 18th May or something of that sort. Yeah. So it was bang in the center of the first lockdown, and none of us knew what is going to happen, or it was our first outing, Raktanchal, and we were hoping that it gets a particular kind of publicity and eyeballs and all that, but we had a very soft opening.
बिहार में एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट है बक्सर, तो बक्सर के एक फ्रीडम फाइटर थे वीर कुंवर सिंह. तो वो 72 साल में उन्होंने अंग्रेजों से लोहा लिया था और उनका एक हाथ नहीं था, और मेरे ख्याल से वो बैटल हारे नहीं थे. तो उन पे कहानी बनेगी तो मैं जरूर, क्योंकि अगेन लाइक निकितिन सेड, इज एन अनसंग हीरो. बहुत लोग जानते नहीं उनके बारे में. तो ऐसे कितनी तमाम कहानियां हैं जो मैं जरूर करना चाहूंगा.
Thank you, Nikitin, and thank you, Kranti, for your time today. We're going to be talking a lot about Raktanchal, which has been making headlines for its new content, of course, the much-awaited second season. मतलब ये जो series है, इसमें politics है, इसमें corruption है, इसमें I think India का जो mafia world है, that's again depicted in this. What, according to you, is that newer element that you are bringing in with the second season of Raktanchal 2?
I think the USP of Raktanchal has always been that since it's inspired by true events, it's a little more titillating to the audiences. At the same time, it has the correct dose of fiction to make it entertaining enough. Similarly, in the second season, we are inspired by true events, and which have been fictionalized for viewing pleasures. And the fact that audiences know that it is inspired by events that occurred in history of Indian politics and the Indian mafia, like you said, it adds a kind of, I wouldn't say credibility. It adds this very interesting layer to what we're offering. And I think we've kept ourselves true to the flavor of Raktanchal and the characters of Raktanchal, and we're presenting them in the same light, but in a different hue, I would say.
ये जो mafia world जो है ना, it's been there in the industry for the last 3 decades. हम तो मतलब 30-40 years से, we've been watching it. How do you think, this particular topic has still engaged the viewers? What is it about the mafia? What is it about this genre that viewers still want to watch any project, whether it's a web series or a film around this?
I think, cinemas always defined the greatest storytellers always have, if they've had to tell what cinema is, it's basically you're selling a dream. You enter a theater and somebody sells you a dream with a packet of popcorn, somebody takes you on a thrilling ride, somebody takes you into a horrific world that is an edge of a seat thriller or whatever it may be. You're in a different space and a different time. And I think every common man in our country at some point in time feels beaten down, feels attacked by perhaps the people he works for or people around him in some way. So here, seeing a person on screen, for example, a Vijay Singh in Raktanchal, who didn't take it lying down, who got up and fought against it, is the kind of a fantasy that a lot of men, gravitate towards, and it makes it exciting for them. Yeah, and on the other side, you have a Wasim Khan, who from childhood only wanted to be a gunda. उसका सपना था कि मैं गुंडा बनूं, सबसे बड़ा गुंडा मुझे ही बनना है. So believe it or not, ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं who have this aspiration, I want power and I want money irrespective of the price. So these things are may seem fantastic to people living in cities, but in our smaller sectors, so-called Gramin ilakas, this is the reality. ऐसा होता है. So it is an age-old story that keeps repeating itself, and till the story repeats itself, it's interesting.
As you said, it's been relevant and prevalent since 3 decades. That's why people just like it and relate to it. You go to maybe UP or Bihar or anyone, since 3 decades, everything is there. Nothing has changed as yet. So maybe people relate to that more because the characters are such. You will find a Wasim Khan, you will find a Vijay Singh even now. So I think that's one of the important factors.
So how do you see the reception being changed in the last 2 years, from season 1 to season 2?
Actually, jab season 1 was about to release, I think it was 18th May or something of that sort. Yeah. So it was in the center of the first lockdown, and none of us knew what is going to happen, or it was our first outing, Raktanchal, and we were hoping it gets a particular kind of publicity and eyeballs and all that. But we had a very soft opening because of the circumstances. There was no chance of putting up billboards because there weren't any cars on the road. The whole take on the publicity and the awareness was very limited. And in fact, at that time, people were more choosy about the content because सब लोग घर ही पर थे and everybody was watching OTT. And so it was, in fact, all of us were a little worried as to how it will be received, क्या होगा, क्योंकि इतना सारा content है, इतने सारे web series थे. So we were just hoping for the best, and by God's grace, it did well. And we wanted to come earlier with the season. We finished shooting last year itself, but we got bogged down by the second lockdown again, and we had some parts left. And overall, our industry has been struggling because of the lockdown because we are directly affected by it. हम मास्क पहनकर शूट नहीं कर सकते, हम Zoom कॉल पर शूट नहीं कर सकते. We have to be there in person. We have to sweat it out on the ground. So no matter how much you do tests, आप कितना भी social distancing रखो, जब आप action करते हो किसी के साथ, so you are touching each other, and it's an exchange, bodily exchange. You can't do anything about it. So because of that, we now got a little delayed in what we expected because of these reasons. Otherwise, you perhaps would have come last year. And our only concern this time was to be honest to our fans. जिन्हें रक्तांचल अच्छा लगा, विजय वसीम अच्छे लगे, सब अच्छा लगा. हमारी honest कोशिश यही रही है that we do what's right by them and we offer them entertainment at a similar scope and level that we did in the first time. Yeah. So uske alawa, I don't think any of us is thinking about anything else. I don't know about Kranti, but I feel that way.
Finally, this last year, the whole second phase of pandemic, and then really worked a lot, very hard, especially in that bio bubble. So we are happy for the fact that it's coming out now. So there is a saying in Hindi, तीर कमान से और बात ज़बान से निकल जाए तो फिर कुछ होता नहीं है. So we have done our job. Now it's totally up to the audience whether they like it or they don't like it that much.
Now, what are the conflicts in the society would you like to see in cinema?
Our viewers are very intelligent, and they subconsciously choose the content not only which they see but also that is produced and made. There are, I could name 10 issues जिसके ऊपर awareness होनी चाहिए, लेकिन it has a level of morbidity to it. So a normal person जो सिनेमा जाता है या OTT देखता है, उसको he does not want to feel कि मैं फिर से एक documentary देख रहा हूँ, मैं अपना जीवन देख रहा हूँ जो मैं day in day out देखता हूँ. So I think cinema of any kind, be it on television, web, movies, has some kind of larger than life aspect to it. Yeah. Has to be attached to it. So I feel somewhere down the line, the audiences themselves are choosing what they want to watch, and looking at the algorithm and the graph, the platforms and the producers are choosing to make content on those lines. So I feel, that the audiences are the ones who are already the deciding factor.
And Bollywood has quite clearly embraced a new wave of nationalism, which is why Bollywood has seen, in fact, it actually produced over 37 films with patriotism and nationalism as the core in the last 8 years. So, is there any story, let's say, of a political leader or of a political stance that you would like to be part of?
I would love to be have the opportunity or the honor to be a part of the biography or the biopic of General Hari Singh Alwa. He was one of the greatest commanders in the world. If you Google him, he's rated higher than Napoleon Bonaparte and Alexander the Great also. He never lost a battle. And ऐसे अनगिनत वीर हैं हमारे देश में. And I think as an Indian, we are actors by profession, but Indians, we should be proud that we are Indian at the end of the day. No matter what our belief system is, no matter what party you like, no matter what it is, the eventuality is that we must love our country. And there are so many unsung heroes. जैसे तानाजी की कहानी अजय सर ने बनाई थी. It was fantastic. ऐसे अनगिनत वीर हैं हमारे देश में. I think so. It's a great thing कि history is always written by the victors. So a lot of times it's twisted. You don't know the truth. People are glorified. People are put in a light which they are not. So I think it's very good and it's a very important thing कि अच्छी कहानियाँ हमारी माटी से जुड़ी हुई कहानियाँ सामने आनी चाहिए for the generations to come. If we make patriotism cool, just like everything else, I think it will affect our next generation in a very positive way.
बिहार में एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट है बक्सर. तो बक्सर के एक फ्रीडम फाइटर थे वीर कुंवर सिंह. तो वो 72 साल में उन्होंने अंग्रेजों से लोहा लिया था और उनका एक हाथ नहीं था. और मेरे ख्याल से वो बैटल हारे नहीं थे. तो उन पे कहानी बनेगी तो मैं जरूर, क्योंकि अगेन लाइक निकितन सेड, ही इज एन अनसंग हीरो. बहुत लोग जानते नहीं उनके बारे में. तो ऐसे कितनी तमाम कहानियां हैं जो मैं जरूर करना चाहूंगा.
कोई ऐसे पॉलिटिकल फिल्म थी that you watched and you thought that it was just a caricature, adaptation of the political leader?
I come from Bihar.
Yeah.
And everything whichever is shown in films or television from Bihar, they are all caricatures of the people who doesn't look like them, who doesn't talk like them. So that's something which I have always been, I have always had this complaint. सही दिखाओ.